What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so after the initial criticism that Stephen A. Smith got in his less than enthusiastic and partisan support of Shannon Sharp when this story first broke about the allegations, feeling the heat, Stephen A. Smith tried to clean it up a little bit. All of a sudden now he phrases it like, look, I believe that Shannon is innocent. Excuse me. I believe that Shannon is innocent. I don't believe my friend. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I don't believe my friend is guilty of any illegal wrongdoing. But then he adds that, of course, equivocating a bit, I don't have access to the evidence at hand. I wasn't there. None of us was there, so we don't know for certain whether any crimes were committed. But I don't believe that he did what has been accused of him, right? It's the same person, though, that came out and said that rather unequivocally, I don't believe Jay-Z is guilty of any of these things that he's been accused of. It's the same guy that was much more forceful in defending Skip Bayless and hell, Jerry Jones. But it is what it is. So you try to clean up a little bit, but Stephen A. Smith is the king of fence riding. He says or tries to say just enough to appease certain groups, and then he'll double back and try to appease the other group. But there's a guy that did that in history. His name was Jimmy Carter. And we knew how that worked out for him when he tried to run for re-election in 1980. You can't be everything to everybody. You can't do it. It doesn't work. Whether or not people are going to like you or dislike you, that's one thing I'll say about Trump. Trump doesn't really care. And there's a side that despises him, but there's also another side that will go through the fire for him. So I'm just saying. Look, he talked about Disney, and he knew from the start that Disney would not go for this as far as with Shannon Sharp and what was put out there and all that, right? And to me, look, that's weak because Disney is hypocritical anyway, because they'll go out there and judge Shannon Sharp based upon something that was supposed to be private. As I said before, all these things were supposed to be private. But at the same time, Disney is pushing this agenda. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna go too deep into it on YouTube, but Disney pushes a certain agenda. Let's just say a certain coalition, right? We've seen these movies recently. All right. So what are you talking about? Because some people see that as against their moral code. Like I said, I'm not gonna go into specifics here on YouTube, but you know what I'm talking about. Y'all can read between the lines. We're adults, even though YouTube pretends like we're not. But man, Stephen A. Smith, bro, I tell you, like with friends like this guy, man, he then proceeds to basically pat himself on the back by saying, "You'll never catch me in these type of situations." That's basically what he said. You'll never catch me in these types of situations because I know what's at stake, and I got people around me that are moral. Almost like he trying to sneak this Shannon, saying that he doesn't really have people around him that are giving him great advice or sound advice, and I have certain parameters around me that remind me or keep me in check as far as whether or not I crossed a certain line or whether I've gone beyond it, which to me is a sneak diss of Shannon being on the podcast, and YouTube has different, as far as, YouTube has different rules. Like we can curse and we can say certain things that he can't on FCC airwaves. And you get where I'm going with this, right? Shannon is a lot more edgier than Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith comes across as a lot more bland. And that's been one of the criticisms of Stephen A. Smith. So I thought that was a shot. And it's just ridiculous, man. But especially considering the fact, I know my brother Sydney Sports TV pointed this out. When you look at the fact that there was this chick just a couple of months ago running around on X/Twitter calling herself Mrs. Stephen A. Smith, talking about how, Molly's jealous of her and Molly wanted to come at you and all this other stuff that I chose to not believe really, but who knows? There was all these photos of you on the internet with her, and one of them where, like you was getting dressed from perhaps doing something intimate. Oh, these photos were all over social media until a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago. So to sit here and act like you're holier than thou because you haven't had, that type of scandal, it can happen to anybody. It can happen to anybody that has a grudge against you. Anybody. The thing that I'm tripping off of is, as Shannon Sharp is going through this situation, it's amazing how much hate he's getting. I see people saying things like he should be ashamed of himself. For what? Why should he be ashamed of himself? Because he engaged in physical intimacy with someone who's a legal age? Can we? Okay, so if she's a child, then why is she having OnlyFans? Shouldn't that be shut down if she's a child? We're just making up these stupid rules as we go because we're in our feelings about something or some way. We're just making up rules. These invisible, out of my ass rules. Like Shannon's almost 60. So what is he doing with a woman that age? The same thing that a lot of other 60-year-olds wish they could do if they had money like him. Like, what are we doing here? Like, so it's out of pocket, out of place to see a 60-year-old multimillionaire with someone who's years younger than him? Or are we just putting these invisible rules and these unfair, absolutely disgusting, frivolous rules just in commonplace for black men to follow? That's it. Everybody else can do what the hell they want to do. Everybody else can do what the hell they want to do, but somehow we can't do it or it'll be morally judged. Who gives a shit at this point? Let me say this too. I've been getting some criticism, people saying, look, man, why are you going hard for Shannon Sharp? This guy has buck danced and all of this. Why do you care? Because I keep saying this time and time again. This situation is bigger than Shannon Sharp. It's bigger than Shannon Sharp. The thing that I'm starting to despise is this unrelenting campaign against black men, demonizing black men, all for the sake of ratings, likes, hits, clicks, revenue. It's consistent. It's constant. And no matter what the charge is, somehow that black man is accused of being a criminal. Shannon Sharp's being accused of being a criminal. I've seen morons accuse Colin Kaepernick of being a criminal because he took a knee. Ridiculous. So no, I'm not going to sit up here and just engage in this nonsense where everybody else get their day in court. Everybody else get to have and get to tell their side of the story, and everyone listens to both sides. You don't do that with black men. You don't. You don't. I'm sorry, you don't do it. And I'm talking about black people too. You're part of the problem with this. Black content creators running around, don't give a fuck, leading the charge. At least present both sides of the story. I get it with Diddy. He's a monster. Shannon Sharp is not a monster. Even though I've seen some, with my own eyes, black people referring to him as a beast, as a black monster, calling him ugly, black people saying this, bro. And you trying to tell me that we're not screwed up as a race? We're screwed up, man. Something has gone horribly wrong. This experiment of integration, what you want to call it, something has gone horribly wrong. And we created some monsters, some moral monsters who think and act like the worst of their oppressors. Y'all fool me. You can play these little games. I see through you. I see right through all of you. I'm not talking about most of my subscribers. I'm talking about the people I'm talking about. Y'all know who y'all are. It's disgusting. The same ones who ran to the online law books, online legal websites, and looked up Australia law to exonerate Josh Giddey, ran to his defense. Y'all run to sacrifice any black man. There's something wrong with y'all. Sorry. I'm not gonna get out here and play this, act like, oh, I don't talk about race and all. Man, I don't give a damn about none of that stuff. Look what's going on with Brother Sador Sanders. Still not about race? Come on, man. Get your hair out of the damn sand.